Hey YouTube, today's episode of Build With Me, we are going to be building Sheikra at Busch Gardens Tampa. So first you're going to need to select your dive coaster. So see, we have that pulled up here. And we're going to need to raise the station just a little bit. Yeah, about that high should be good. Now, we need to increase it because the station is not that short. So let's bring it out just a little bit. I want it to have enough so that it can fit 3 trains. So maybe this is a good amount. Let's see. How many trains can we do? Okay. Maybe I overshot it a little bit. So let's bring it back. Delete that. And now we need to change our color scheme. Because if you've ridden Sheikra, you know that it has a gorgeous bright red color. So let's find a nice bright red. That's a pretty good representation, I think. So we'll select red, red, red. And then for the supports, it's going to be a beautiful, nice, vivid blue color. So I would say this one. Okay. Good. And we're gonna need to pick a color for the train as well. But we'll worry about that later. Now let's just focus on building the coaster. So, out of the station, we have a nice right turn. And so we are gonna need to bank it just a little bit. I'd say about that much. And I bring it to a nice 45-degree angle. And shorten it a bit. It's not going to be like a drop or anything, but it is going to be a nice turn out of the station. As we come over here to our lift hill. And so now we're going to create this lift hill going up at a pretty steep angle, about 45 degrees. Maybe it's not quite that steep, but for all intents and purposes, this is how we're going to do it today. So we're going to bring it up to about 200 feet. Maybe it's slightly taller than that. Oops. Bring it down. Okay. Let's see if that looks good. No, that's still too tall. Let's shorten this just a bit. 1, 2. And yeah, I'd say that's a good height for Sheikra. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change this to drive tires because we need it to come around for the turn. And it's still going to have a nice catwalk. So we'll turn it this way. Bring it out like that. I am going to increase it just a bit here. Okay. Let me see. I need to open this up just a little bit because we don't want it to run right into the station. So I would say about here. And that should give us enough room to avoid the station. So here we are. This is going to be the first drop. So we'll do a dive drop holding section. We're going to say minimum holding 3 seconds. Okay. And we definitely do not need the catwalk anymore. So let's remove that. And we do want it a little bit steeper. So I would say that's good. But let's bring that up here. We'll come down. No. Not that much. I would say right around here is where we go into the end of the drop. Okay. Ooh, I like the way that looks. Very pretty. So we'll bring it down. Let's increase it just a little bit. We bring it down a bit more. Okay. Pretty good. Pretty good. Still not quite where I want it to be. So we'll bring it down. Okay. That should be good enough. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what's known as a sidewinder, but we don't want it looking quite like that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build it from scratch. So we're gonna bring it up here about this high. Oof, that's too high. It'll never make it that tall. So let's bring it down to about 157, which still might be too high, but we'll see. And now we're gonna come down here, bring it out this way. We're gonna need to bank it. Bring it down. Okay. A little bit more. Bank it out. And don't worry, if it looks janky, I'm gonna smooth it out very soon, so just bear with me. And actually, you know what happens is it actually comes down this way. And up like this. And we're gonna come down. Bring it this way. Gotta bank it. Bring it out. Now we're gonna do our left turn. That's nice and banked. We're gonna come up and bring it here. And it's gonna be a nice turn that goes around this lift hill section. So we're gonna bring our helix out this way because we need it to come through and underneath this inversion here. Oh, it needs to be wider than that though. So let's bring it out just a little bit. That was a bit much, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. And we're gonna make our second catwalk going into the next steep drop. Bring it down. It's not too long. It's about that long. So now we're gonna go into our vertical drop. I want it, looks good. Make it a little bit shorter than that. A little bit shorter. So now we're gonna come down. Oops, we don't want auto tunnel. So I need this to be a little bit longer. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So that looks pretty good for our second steep drop. Now we're gonna come here and go out into our banked turn. Bring it down. Come down here. Gonna go up. I think that's too large of a turn, so let's make it smaller. Okay. Bring it down. And up. And now we're gonna make our water splash section. So bring that down. Gonna make a nice little drop into the water splash. So what we need to do is we need to come over here to terrain, and we're going to lower this terrain just a little bit. It's not going to be like a huge section, but it is going to create a nice section for our coaster to have a little water action. So I'll say that much. And we'll create our nice little water pond here. And now we'll come back and edit this and bring it down just a bit. Okay. Bring it here. And I would say that this is a good amount. You don't want it too deep because you don't want it to go underwater. You just want it enough to give it a good splash. And I think that does the trick. So we'll come here, and now we'll come up. And we'll do a nice turnaround. And what we want to do is bring it back to the station. But obviously we don't want it to run into any of the other track here. So just bear with me. I'm gonna create the brake run back here. But that's okay. I think it looks decent enough. I would still ride it. So let's bring this out this way. Oops. Shoot. Come here this way a little bit. And we're gonna smooth this out a bit. There we go. That looks much better. I want to smoothen out some of these hills over here. And then this area, I want to also smooth it out a bit. This drop right here. I'm gonna smooth that out. And we're gonna smooth this area as well. Gotta have a smooth coaster. Sheikra's Glossy Smooth. You know, dive coasters are not really my favorite. I think that they look intimidating, but they don't feel that intimidating, at least in my opinion. I also need to smoothen out this inversion here, because that is no bueno. So let's make this smooth. Oops. Make this portion smooth. And this portion smooth. They're kind of graceful when you ride it. Let's smooth this one. And when it comes to building dive coasters in Planet Coaster, you are gonna want to change the friction. We're gonna need to lower it down because most of the time dive coasters can't even make it back to the station if you're using level 1, which is the preset. So you need to make it a level 6, I would say. So let's give that a try and see how it turned out. Okay, so here's Sheikra. So we come out and do our right turn, heading to the lift hill. Now this is a very steep lift hill. Most dive coasters have steep lift hills so that you can get to the height very quickly. Now this lift hill I always felt was more intimidating than the lift hill on Griffin. And that's because on Griffin you have the trees surrounding the coaster, so it doesn't feel as tall. But on Sheikra, you don't really have many trees around. You just have a view of the parking lot from the top. So it actually feels taller. So now we're gonna come around and approach our intimidating first drop of 200 feet. And it's a doozy. This is usually the part where people get nervous, they start screaming, and we stop and hold at the edge. And here we go. Whee! Up into our beautiful inversion. So glad I smoothened that out. And we're gonna come right up into our mid-course brakes and go down into our steep drop, up, turn to the left, come down, and right into our water splash. I made it way too deep it shouldn't be going underwater, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and see how that looks from this angle. Now, Sheikra is a beautiful looking roller coaster. It towers above a lot of the other rides at Busch Gardens, with the exception of Iron Gwazi, of course. But you know, a lot of the staff at the park will tell you that this is the best ride in the park. Personally, I don't think I agree with that, but it is a very good dive coaster. And here we go to the edge, and we plummet down. Whee! Yes. Right up into our inversion, nice and smooth. Then we turn and come right up into our mid-course. And then down, whee, up. And we're gonna come right down into our water splash. And there you have it. That's Sheikra at Busch Gardens Tampa.